Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Today we are learning the eighth Perek of the Nedarim. Today's shiur is Lilei Nishma Saranachim and Zucha Kohen Shamorcha B'Shepsel Bracha Saba Shmolei Ben Midamash Ben Yosef made the Neshavos to have an Aliyah. And before Shtema for Yisrael Baruch Aleh Racha Bas Pesach Zelda Racha Aliyana Bas Yal Bracha Aram Yisrael Marisha Chai B'Tov Bela before Shtema B'Sach Shar Chal Yisrael. And Shefer Bracha Vatzlach Svi Noach ben Bracha Rachalea and a Zivik Pekarov to Shmuel David ben Hinda Miriam. And a special shout out to our good friends at the Imperial Advisory Group for sponsoring Seder Nashim. If you need help with your CFO stuff, please reach out to them at imperialgrp.com. Here we go. Perek Tes Mishnah Aleph. We're going to talk about Nedarim that are limited in time. The Konam Yayin Shani Tolam Hayom. Someone says wine shall be konam to me if in regard to my tasting of it today. As, wine is just used as an example, but it applies to anything that he's asrid. Eno asr ela asher tefshach. He is asr to drink wine only until it gets dark. When people say today, they refer to whatever time remains until the end of the current day and not to a full 24 hours. Therefore, even an end that made late in the day ends at nightfall. Shabbazu, if someone prohibits wine for this week, Asr b'chol Shabbos. He's asr to drink wine during all the remaining days of that week. The Shabbos Sha'avra, and the next Shabbos is included in the preceding week, and therefore falls within the period of the Neder. So when people say this week, they mean just the remaining days together with Shabbos and not a full 7 days, because at the end of the week or this week, people's minds are cut off on Shabbos. Chodesh Zeh, someone prohibits wine for this month. Also, b'chol chodesh, he's usher to drink wine during all the remaining days of that month. The Rosh Chodesh lahaba, but the next Rosh Chodesh belongs to the following month that is not included in the Neder. When people say this month, they mean just the remaining days of the current month without Rosh Chodesh and not a full month, so 29 or 30 days. Shana Zu, someone asks wine for this year. Asr b'chol Hashana, he is asr to drink wine during all the remaining days of the year. Rosh Hashanah la'asr level. The next Rosh Hashanah belongs to the future year, is not included in the net. When people say this year, they mean just the remaining days of the current year, without Rosh Hashanah and not an entire year. Shiur is if someone prohibits wine for this Shemitah cycle. Asr b'chol Shiur, he is asr to drink wine during all the remaining years of the Shemitah cycle. U'shviyah she'avra, and the Shemitah year itself is included in the preceding cycle, and therefore falls under the Neder's prohibition. When people say that the Shemitah cycle, they mean just the remaining years of the cycle together with the Shemitah year, but not a full 7 years. However, if he said wine should be cut to me in regard to my tasting it for 1 day, Shabbos achas, or 1 week, Chodesh echad, or 1 month, Shana achas, or 1 year, Shavua echad, or 1 Shemitah cycle, Asr miyom liyom. In this case, he is asr to drink wine from day to day, meaning from the moment that he made the neder until the same moment in the next day, week, month, year, or Shemitah cycle. When people say 1 day, they refer not to the current day, but to the next 24 hours. Likewise, when they say 1 week, they refer not to the current week, but to the next 7 days. And when they say 1 month, it refers to the period that lasts until the same date in the next month. 1 year refers to the same date in the next year. And 1 Shemitah cycle means until the same date in the next cycle. You can even say Daf Yomi cycle. You need to. Mishnah Beis. Ad HaPesach, if someone made a neder answering an item until Pesach, for example, he said that wine should be forbidden to me until Pesach. Asar ad Sheikhiyah, he is forbidden to taste wine only until Pesach arrives, but not during Pesach itself. Because when people say until an event, they mean until the event, but not including the event. If someone says, I don't eat matzah the entire year, because to Pesach they can eat matzah. Ad Sheikhiyah, but if he said until Pesach is, Asher Ad Sheikhiyah, he is forbidden to taste wine until Pesach ends. The people say until it is, quote unquote, they mean until and including the event itself. Aleph Ner Pesach, if he says until before Pesach, which could mean either until the first moment of Pesach or until the last moment of Pesach, but it's unclear as to is it the beginning or is it the end. But the mayor Omer says Aser Ad Sheikhiyah, he's Aser to taste wine only until Pesach arrives. And we assume that person does not intentionally say something that puts him in an uncertain position. When a person says until before Pesach, he must have meant that the time that could certainly be called before Pesach until the moment arrives, until the moment before the beginning of Pesach. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yossi says, Aser Ad Sheikhiyah, he is forbidden to taste wine until Pesach ends. According to Rabbi Yossi, person does not always avoid putting himself in an uncertain position. Therefore, since his neder can also mean until before the last moment of Pesach, he is usher to taste the wine until the end of the Chag, so that he will observe the neder according to all its possible interpretations. Mishnah Gimel. Ad hakatzir, if someone made a neder prohibiting an item until the grain harvest, ad habatzir, or until the grape harvest, ad hamasik, or until the olive harvest, eno aser ela ad sheikhiyah, then that item is forbidden only until the harvest arrives, meaning the start of the harvest. This is the rule. Regarding any event whose time is fixed, it may last for a set amount of times, it is Pesach, which lasts for 7 days in Eretz Yisrael. If someone said an item is aser until that event arrives, aser ad sheikhiyah, it is forbidden only until the event arrives. Although the event may continue for some time, the neder ends as soon as the event begins. Amar ad shehei, but if he said until the event is, aser ad sheyetze, it is forbidden until the event ends. Since he knows beforehand how long the event will last, we assume that he meant the simple definition of until it is, namely until and including the event itself. However, regarding any event whose time is not fixed, it does not last for a set amount of time, such as the harvest, which varies in length depending on the size of the crop. Whether he said until that event is whether he said that until that event arrives, he is forbidden only until that in such a way that he does not know when the Issur will end. Therefore, even if he said regarding the harvest until it is, he presumably meant that for his neder to last only until the start of the event, rather than to bind himself by an Issur with no definite time limit. Okay, Mishnah Dalet, moving on. Ad hakayis, some made a neder prohibiting an item until the fig harvest, meaning because figs are picked by hand rather than cutting them off the branch with tools. Ad hakayis, or until the fig harvest is, quote unquote. Ad sheyaskilu ha'am la'achnis b'kalos. The item is usher only until the people begin to gather the figs in baskets, because that is considered the beginning of the fig harvest. However, if he said that the neder should last until the fig harvest passes, until after the harvest, the neder remains in effect until the harvesters fold up the mats on which the figs were laid out to dry. and then store the mats away. For this time it is considered the end of the fig harvest. Ad hakatzir, someone prohibited an item until the grain harvest. Ad shiyaschel am liksor ksir chitim. It is forbidden only until the people begin to reap the wheat harvest. Avalo ksir sa'arim, and not until the barley harvest. The wheat crop is more important and plentiful than the barley crop, so we assume that when he said the harvest, he had the wheat harvest in mind. Hakol lefi makom nidra. How everything follows the place of his neder. I mean, the meaning of a term used in a neder depends on where the neder was made. Therefore, in those places where barley is the main crop, the grain harvest refers not to the wheat harvest, but to the barley harvest. And therefore, his neder stays in force only until the beginning of the barley harvest. Im bahar. Similarly, if he was on a mountain when he made the neder, bahar, the neder lasts until the time the harvest begins on the mountain. Im bivika, and if he was in a valley when he made the neder, babika, then the neder lasts until the harvest begins in the valley. We always assume that he meant the harvest that takes place in the area where he made his neder. Mishnah Hey, Ahak Shamim. If someone makes a neder prohibiting a answering item until it rains, or until the rains are, the item is usher until the beginning of the second of the three periods of rain, as we discussed back in Tainus, that there were three tekufas of rain. So this would be usher until the beginning of the second three periods. Um, so in a normal year, when the rains fall on time, the second rainfall arrives on the 23rd day of Mar Cheshvan, and so therefore that neder lasts until it begins to rain anytime from the 23rd and onward. The first period is from Zayin Cheshvan until Chav Gimel, and then the second one starts from Chav Gimel. It goes on. Go back to Tainus, you'll see it over there. So since the rainy season has no set length, a neder that states until it rains or even until it rains or until the rains are lasts only until the start of the rains. Of the three periods of rainfall, we assume that he meant the second one because it is the middle rainfall, neither very early in the season nor very late. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel disagrees, and he says, the neder lasts only until the time the second rainfall should arrive, even if the rain had not yet fallen. We assume he did not have the actual rain in mind, but rather the time when it is expected to fall. Since the rains are delayed in some years, he's unlikely to have meant the rain itself, because the person does not commit himself to an issue of uncertain length. Instead, he must have meant the date of the second rainfall, which is known. If he said until the rain stops, the neder lasts until the entire month of Nisan ends, because this is when the winter rains usually end. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Yehuda says, Pesach, the neder lasts only until Pesach passes, until the end of Pesach, because the main rains of the winter are said to end at this time. Now we're going to talk about a leap year. Someone said at the beginning of the year that Kohen will not taste wine this year, this Arbra Shana, and then the year was extended. We made a 13th month so that we had an extra month onto the calendar. He is usher to drink wine both during the year and its extension, meaning the extra month. When he said this year, he did not mean a normal year, 12 months, but the current year, which has 13 months. Ad Rosh Adar. If he said at the beginning of the month of Adar, and the year was proclaimed a leap year, so that now there are 2 months of Adar, Ad Rosh Ad Adar Rishon. Then the neder lasts until the beginning of the first Adar, because when a person refers to Adar without specifying which one, he means the first Adar. Ad Sof Adar. Similarly, if he said until the end of Adar, Ad Sof Adar Rishon, the neder lasts until the end of the first Adar. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Kohanim yayin she'eni toim ad shehei Pesach." If someone said Kohanim that will not taste wine until Pesach is, eno aser elo ad leil haPesach. He is aser to drink wine only until the first night of Pesach, and once Pesach starts, he may drink wine. Shalom eskaven zeh ela ad shah shederech b'nei adam listus yayin. Because we assume this person intended to prohibit wine only until the time where there's a practice of people to drink wine. Meaning the first night of Pesach, when it's the mitzvah to drink arba kosos, since he has a chiyuv to drink wine on that night, he would not have made an neder that asks him from doing so. So even though he said until Pesach is, he presumably meant to ask wine only until the start of Pesach. Mishnah Vav. Amar konam basa she'eni toim ad she'heyatzom. Someone said, Konam, that I will not taste meat until the fast of Yom Kippur is, Eno Aser Ella Al. He is us. He is usher to eat meat only until the last meal before the night of the fast, and he may eat during the meal itself. With the Sunnah of Sekes, he can eat the time when it's the practice of people to eat meat. Since it is a mitzvah to eat a larger meal on the day before Kippur, and many places the custom was to eat meat at this meal. Person when not even Omer, Yossi, his son, says, Konam Shum She'eni Toim Ad Shtehei Shabbos. Someone said, Kohen will not taste garlic until Shabbos is, Eno Aser Ela Al Leili Shabbos. He is Aser to eat garlic only until the night of Shabbos, until Friday night. Because this person intended to Aser garlic only until the time when it is the practice of people to eat garlic. Since on Friday night, the minhag is to eat garlic, we assume that he meant to ask garlic only until the beginning of that night, not during Shabbos. And Mishnah Zayin, last one for today. Someone said to his friend, what I benefit from you is if you do not come and take from me as a gift for your children, one quart of wheat and 2 barrels of wine, and the friend refused to take these items. The friend can annul the first person's neder even without going to a stage, as the Yom Alo. And the friend says to him, Klum amarta elabernei kvodi zel kvodi. Did you state this neder for any reason but my honor? The refusal of the gift is my honor. The first person's intent in giving the gift was to honor his friend. And he made the neder only to encourage the friend to accept it. So therefore, to the friend, though, he was just as honored by refusing the gift. Therefore, the purpose of the gift has been accomplished, as though the gift had been received, and the neder does not go into effect. Yeah. Someone said to his friend, what you benefit from me is if you do not come and give my son a gift of a core of wheat and 2 barrels of wine. If says the friend is usher to benefit from him until he gives the wheat and the wine to the son. Thus we interpret the neder according to its simple meaning. The Chachamim say, even this one can know his neder without a sage as follows. The Yom Love, he says to his friend, Hare ani ki'il hifkavati. It is as if I had received the gift I demanded from you. The first person wanted the gift for his own benefit, not for his son, so that it would be easier for him to support his son. Since he now states that he does not need this help, it is considered that he received it and that it does not take effect. Hayim Isar bin Balas says Bas Achos. People were urging his sister's daughter who did not want to. The Amar Kodem he Nanas the Olam. So he said, what she will ever benefit from Kodem. V'chein HaMegarish is Ishto. Similarly, if someone is divorcing his wife, the Amar Kodem Ishti Nanas the Olam. And he said, what my wife will ever benefit from me is Kodem. So she would be forbidden to remarry him. Let us love. And both of these women are unlimited to have other types of benefit from him. Shalom is the same issues, because this person intended to make his neder only for the sake of answering the benefits of marriage and not other benefits. Since it's clear from the circumstances that he intended only to prevent the marriage, his niece or his divorcee is usher to marry him, but all of the benefits from him are permitted. And finally, if someone was urging his friend to eat a meal with him as his guest, Amar Kodam Levescha She'eni Nichnas, but the friend refused and said, Kodam, I will not enter your house. Tivas Sone She'eni Toim Lecha, or Kodam, I will not taste a drop of your cold water. This friend is nevertheless permitted to enter his house and to drink his cold water. If this person intended to make his neder only for the sake of prohibiting eating and drinking in large quantities, he did not mean to usher entering the inviter's house and really sipping the water, his water. That's all for today. We'll see you tomorrow for Perek test. Have a wonderful day. Kol Tov.